So thank you so much for being here. I'm always surprised at how emotional it could be to have a group of people in person together. I have a friend who's here that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I knew I missed her, but I started crying because it's powerful to be here in person. Thank you for being here, everyone. I wanted to start by acknowledging that we are on unceded and unsurrendered Anishinaabe territory, and that I'm very thankful to be with all of you here today to problem solve together this very important issue of the climate emergency. So we have a lot of awesome stuff planned. Thank you to all of the presenters who traveled here. Dorian Stevens came from Montreal to be with us today. Thank you, Dorian. Patsya, Griffin. And we will also be sharing what the Imagine Action Youth Council is all about, how we got here. Ilse Thompson will be performing a poem. Thank you, Ilse. And Patrick Thompson, PAF president and collaborator, will be doing a presentation. And then we have a film about the Imagine Action Youth Council that's been edited by our very own Anouk Marks, very talented young lady. We're going to do a Q&A after, and then we are going to do a community brainstorming session where we are going to invite you to make art about thinking up solutions to the climate emergency. We're going to make a mosaic together. And then there will be a musical performance by Anouk and Noah Marks, and a closing song and story by Dorian Stevens and Patsya Griffin. So I think Hélène Giroux from the Writers' Fest is here. I wanted to thank the Writers' Fest, for hosting us and doing this for us, and I'm thankful that there's connection. And I also wanted to thank, I forgot, the MRC des Collines de l'Outaouais for supporting the Imagine Action Youth Council from the beginning. And so we're just really, really grateful for all the support from this amazing community. Thank you.
Hello. The theme for the Writers' Festival this year was the power to transform. And we envisaged it over the last year and a half as the pandemic increasingly shone a light over social injustice, vulnerabilities, and climate change. And we hope that our festival could show a little bit more clearly how the literary and the performing arts contribute to the wider social and environmental movements, and also perhaps to answer the question, what can I do? Ilse Thompson of the Coalition for a Green New Deal met with Peter Gillies and I, my coordinator, in September, and she told us about the extraordinary work of the Imagine Youth Action Council. And we explored with them how we could support them in their work, support Geneviève Cloutier from PAF and a teacher at St. Mike's, how we could support them to continue to explore the connection between art and activism, and particularly on issues of climate change. And tonight, they will inspire us to imagine solutions to helping heal our damaged earth, and perhaps even to answer the question, what can I do? We're very proud, Writers' Fed is very proud and honored to support these stunningly creative, engaged, and committed youth in the work that they're doing. And it's a wonderful community partnership towards action, towards one of the most important challenges of our time. During the festival, Seth Klein, who wrote, the author Seth Klein, who wrote A Good War, Mobilizing Canada for the Climate Emergency, challenged us. He ended his the evening with the challenge, do something grand together. The Imagine Action Youth Council is just that, do something grand together. Thank you very much.
Now let's welcome Dorian Stevens and Patsya Griffin.
Koi kakina, kirigansi bi dodem ne donjipa. My name is Clearwater Woman, speaking from the heart. That's my spirit name. And I'm very happy and humbled and honored to be here this evening to do this performing arts ceremony song. And usually when we have an opening song, we stand for our ancestors. But today, I'm just telling you that in your hearts, you are standing anyway. So, kichimikwaj. Kichimikwaj kushimaneto. Pintiken, kokamis, mishomis, pintiken. Kisakian. Way hey, way hey oh, way hey, way hey oh. All my love hey oh, all my love I give to you, yeah, hey oh, way hey, way yeah, hey oh, way hey. Sagian Mishomis, Ashishkokamis. All my love I give to you, yeah, hey oh. All my love I give to you, yeah, hey oh. Away, hey. Hey ho, way hey, way hey ho. All my sisters, this is for you, yeah, hey ho. All my sisters, this is for you, yeah, hey ho. Away, hey, way, hey ho. Away, hey, hey ho. All my children, this is for you, yeah, hey ho. All my children, this is for you, yeah, hey ho. Away, hey, away, hey ho. Away, hey. Hey oh, brothers, all my love I give to you, yeah, hey oh. All my love I give to you, yeah, hey oh. Sisters, away, hey. Hey oh, away, hey, away, hey oh. Kukumis, grandfathers, grandmothers, all my love hey, oh, away, ah, hey, away, ah, way, ah, yeah, hey, oh, way, ah, hey, way, ah, yeah, hey, oh, way, ah, hey. Thank you. Thank you. So my sister here, my Thunderbird sister here, Patsya. Patsya, can you tell me a little bit about the medicine tree? Ananatic is the medicine tree. It's a tree that supplies us with the medicine, so we call it Ananatic, the medicine tree.
Well, there was this maple tree that was my friend and my medicine tree. We were friends for 53 years, so I wrote this poem for it. Sitting by the great river, in the shadow of the 200-year-old maple tree, the wind and the waves serenading, thinking and wondering, what has it seen? Listening and dreaming, what has it heard? Trying to understand the language of nature. Something's changed. Silent most of the summer, now raging. There's something brewing. The maple tree, melancholically creaking, crying. Does it know something that we don't? Does it know something that we know? It will be coming down, piece by piece, falling to the ground. The end is near. I will miss you. I will cry for you. I will remember you. I will honor you. Ravens, crows, eagles, osprey will miss you. Their highest perch. Nesting robins will look for you next spring and miss you too. Earth and sky will miss you. I thought I understood. I don't think I ever will. How easily some kill. The Maple Tree, Part 1.
Kitchimi Gwedge for that. It's really nice, special. Thank you. Thank you, my sister. So prayer for peace, prayer for poem. Medicine life. Head feather people stand beside me, protect my grandchildren. Pink thunder of the skies, bring me gifts of tobacco in a medicine bundle. Supply me with the earth's offerings. Holy boy, sing me a recovery and bring rain to my eyes and arrows through my veins so I can know anger and smile at my brother. Shimigwaj. Oma, Oma. Kwea Oma, 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 Ogima kwea Oma. Kwea Oma, 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 Ogima kwea Oma, Onimki kwea Oma, Onimki kwea Oma. Onimki kwea Oma, Onim ki ikwe ahoma. 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 Miigwech. That was the rain. Thank you. The blessing of the rain for the trees. Thank you.
So I'm going to thank you so much, Dorian and Patsya. It was great to meet you at PAF. So Dorian was an artist in residence at Place des Artistes de Ferelton, and she gave workshops to some of my classes at St. Mike's and the community at large, and it was such an honor to have her at PAF, and it really brought the space alive. And a lot of the money that we raised, the Imagine Action Youth Council, went to Doreen so that she could be here today, and also she could offer a workshop to a group in need, because the message is really about working with nature, and that's what we're here to do. And I'm grateful for you to be here. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask some of the youth council members, whoever wants to come up, and Anita, if you want to join me. Thank you. So, I'm going to get the writer, come on. So, our group is really about youth voice and engagement. And when I came to PAF, I had a vision of doing the social practice that I had been doing already. I had done a lot of democratic education things with youth and also with adults. And I was really excited to do it with our community. And we got an amazing group of youth, some of which cannot be here today, but they're here in our hearts. And we just wanted to tell you how it started, what we've been doing. We started as a group at the beginning of the pandemic. And next slide, please. My wonderful husband is going to be the slide person. Thank you, Gavin. So the first project that we did, it's all about brainstorming, and we've always cared about the environment. Is one of the topics that kept on coming up as being important. So we did this a couple years ago. It was called the Earth Rock Warrior Project. It was for Earth Day. And I did a couple of goofy workshops, and then we invited the community to paint rocks, and we assembled them into these digital art pieces, which Gavin tells me we should kind of blow up, because I think this could actually be a pretty funny thing to be in your house. But next slide, please.
I mean, who doesn't want Dwayne the All-Knowing in their house?
Who doesn't want the Dwayne All-Knowing rock in their house? And then we voted on doing a project about wellness and pets, because it was in the thick of the pandemic, and a few members were saying, why don't we do something about mental health and pets? So I did some workshops on my own, and then we invited people from outside and inside the community, Chris Simonite and Noelle Smith-Sparrow, to give workshops on illustration. And then we asked the community to submit images of themselves and their pets. And we created pet portraits out of these. So next slide, please. We just picked a couple of them to show as examples. I don't know if you want to say something about these, whoever's art is up. So we have one from Madeline, Will, and Noah. Noah, did you want to say a couple things? Or?
Well, this I made with Rowan and his dog. I basically had a picture of Rowan, and I copied it on a window, and then changed a few things, and then basically sketched out the dog, and then just added them together. So it made a pet portrait.
It looks very regal. If anyone knows Thomas, and Thomas is it's a great likeliness.
Likeness?
Next slide, please.
This one is mine. So it was Nora and her dog Poppy, and I basically did the same thing as Noah. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the whole body, but then I decided to just do the face and kind of like mix both of them. So, yeah.
Next slide.
This one was a self-portrait. I don't know if you can see the resemblance. I think I did pretty well. I combined myself with my cat. Her name is Tulip. She is wonderful. She's got a little patch of fur on one of her cheeks, which I incorporated. But I sometimes have thought about, like, of all my pets, if I was a witch, who'd be my familiar? And I think that would have been my cat Tulip. And so I was like, it's sort of like I know how important pets are. There's like a special little connection with pets, and that was like the point of this project, right? Was how important our animals are, especially in like a stressful time like the pandemic, which was sort of just starting out at this point. Like, we need some support, and our pets are always there for that. And this was one that I did as a self-portrait. I didn't add color, but I did 2 others. And I just sort of wanted to keep that same idea as I used for the self-portrait of like how important pets are, and just they're a part of us, really. And in this case, literally.
You could say, next slide, please, when you're ready. Next slide, please.
Next slide. that was one that I did of Linda and her cat. And this was like one with full color. I did that actually. Wow, I did that before I had my iPad, so I did that with my finger on my phone somehow. I can't imagine doing that now. I have an iPad and a Bluetooth stylus now. I don't think I could do that with my finger anymore. I've got the luxury of a pencil now. But in keeping with that same idea. Next slide. That was the one other that I did. Yeah. And once again, it's more of the same. I'm not going to repeat the same thing over and over again, because that would get old.
So awesome work. We still have, I meant to bring the cards and I forgot them at home, but we do still we have some cards for sale still. If you want to get a hold of me, I can meet you somewhere. And we donated the money to the SPCA in this case with this project. Next slide, please. So we also had a workshop by my friend, artist, activist, and educator Cara Tierney, and gender was something that the youth also wanted to discuss, and we wanted to continue this on this path.
We wanted to continue work with the LGBTQ+ community, not just gender, but gender and sexuality and all of that. We want to do more with that in the future. We're currently focusing on the environment, but in terms of future projects, this is one of the possibilities for future endeavors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think it's something that we will work on maybe next year, or we're going to continue our intersectional work about social justice. Next slide, please. So yeah, we've done a lot of brainstorming about what social justice issues to work with. And, when I thought of this idea of Imagine Action, it's an idea that I'd been working with, for years. I was really, really passionate about the idea of using the imagination to deal with social justice issues, Imagine Action. And there were so many things that we wanted to, work on. And the environment is something that came up, so we dedicated ourselves to this further. Next slide, please. So that's when I invited Anita Lampton to join us, because she was involved with the Green New Deal, and a friend of mine, someone that I admired a lot as an educator and facilitator. So she was really kind to come on as co-facilitator, and she taught us a lot. Anita, do you want to?
Yeah, I was so happy when Genevieve reached out. I was so happy when Genevieve reached out, because talking about this kind of thing is a huge passion of mine. And we're really lucky in La Pêche to have the La Pêche Coalition for a Green New Deal. So if you don't know that group, you should. They work tirelessly doing all sorts of things, organizing petitions, community education events, town halls, really figuring out how to implement a Green New Deal specifically to La Pêche. So we kind of built off that a bit and talked about, well, Fridays for Future, Greta, obviously, how the Green New Deal can really be like a policy framework for taking care of each other and taking care of the planet, and how social justice and climate justice are very much interconnected. Yeah, so we talked about Fridays for Future and how really youth around the world are standing up and taking action, and you know, this is that in our community. So yeah, and I will say I really do wish these folks were the ones making decisions in Glasgow these last weeks, because I feel like we'd be in a very different position. Yeah.
Next slide, please. So because we weren't able to meet in person for so long, we were doing a lot of brainstorming online, through Zoom, through the whiteboard app, whatever you call it. And it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs as we were brainstorming serious things. And so even though we're not going to do this virtual activity with you today, we are going to invite you to do an analog version of this. So there are cards and art material on the table in the back, and feel free to go up and when you want to get some paper, if you want to jot down your ideas on how we can, fight climate change. We're going to pool all of these things together and make an analog map of this sort. And I don't know if you want to share anything about this. We have 3 slides of this sort. Next slide, please.
These were...
I have one thing to say about this. Bees. That is the entirety of what I wanted to say about this particular slide. Thank you.
These were really fun to make because, obviously we weren't together, right? We were doing this over Zoom, so you can imagine this being completely white and then bit by bit, all the pieces coming together. So as you're kind of working on your own little piece, there's all these other things that are being added as well. So highly recommend as an activity.
Yeah, I remember just one thing about these. These really helped me to brainstorm because we had so many ideas, and then to just put them into art really helped. And then once you have all these ideas, you can channel them down to one protest or goal, such as the protest march in Wakefield.
That was much more eloquent than my bees. So, thank you for that.
Next slide, please. I think we have one more whiteboard picture, or is this the last?
Yeah, this is, I think, the last time.
Yeah, so as we brainstormed, and all of these brainstorms made us realize what workshops we wanted to organize and what the final goal would be. And like Noah said, that was a march that happened in Wakefield. And so you are going to learn more about all of the different things that we did through the film that Anouk edited. But the first step after we did our brainstorm was to further connect with the Green New Deal. And Ilse Turnson taught us a lot as well. And along with Shelley Miller, who I don't think is here, but we learned so much from the Green New Deal. Thank you so much for being an ally, co-conspirator, artist, activist, awesome mentor, and thank you for also performing. So should we give it up for Elsa Turnson?
Hello. It's wonderful to see you all here. My name is Ilse. I'm a grandmother. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm an auntie. I'm a friend. And a very grateful human being on planet Earth, in community with the river, with the sky, with the earth, and with the forest. Last summer, here, maybe I better put my glasses on. Last summer, Nadia Ross of Stowe Union and Rita Jane, president of FOG, asked me to ponder what I might add to their project, River. And here is what we, myself and many people from the community, offer to the river and to one another. This is my, not really performance quality yet, but my first public sharing of this work in progress. I have chosen lyrical lines first from the people connected to Imagine Action Youth Coalition. Just saying the name inspires me. And from a few others I thought contributed to the flow. A couple of the contributions, and I hope this works, I'm going to use my cell phone. Oh yeah, good, it's here. A couple of contributions are musical from Doug MacArthur and Chris McLean. And I also want to, in passing, thank Stephen Ferguson, also of Friends of the Gatineau River, for just checking to make sure my science was kind of correct. I'm borrowing a chorus from a song by Coco Love Acorn that Chris McLean shared with the Kitchen Song Kitchen Choir. Anyway, and if you want to, when it comes up, join me in the chorus. That would be great. The words are, water heals my body. Water heals my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Water heals my body. Water heals my soul. When I go down to the river, by the river I feel whole. So listen. Listen. The river speaks to the people. So first of all, I'm going to put on my Moonlight on the River scarf. Grab my cell phone, plug it in. Listen to the river speaking to us. 30,000 years, wait a minute, how am I going to do this? 30,000 years ago, advancing glaciers carved basins out of the land. And over 10,000 years ago, north of what is now the Bascakong Reservoir, the melting glaciers in retreat created huge inland seas, which drained and left those basins filled to overflowing with melting ice. Pulled by gravity, rills coalesced into rivulets, into brooks, creeks, streams, and gradually a river system. I am Tenagadan Zibi, also known as the Gatineau River, flowing almost 300 kilometers into the mighty Ottawa, and then into the St. Lawrence, and then into the Atlantic Ocean. This journey, my flow and surge and meandering, is my life. I am alive. And I have much to teach you about diversity, resilience, community, health, and wholeness. 30,000 years worth of teaching. Water heals my body. Water heals my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. When my flow is natural and unimpeded, I am constantly cleansing, oxygenating, detoxifying, redistributing silt and sediment as I meander, snake-like, back and forth. When I am free and flowing, I nurture strong and varied plant and animal habitats. If riverine plants and animals are happy, then I am happy, and so are you. If otters are thriving, I am thriving, and so are you. When you exploit my flow for electricity, you damage my ecosystem. Too much runoff and erosion will clog and choke me. Salt and heavy metals will poison me, even kill me. When you separate me from my floodplains and wetlands, you diminish me and my capacity to support life, regulate floods, filter toxins, and absorb carbon. Be very, very, very careful about what you do with me and to me, building roads and houses and interrupting my flow for your energy needs. Your brains, my children, are equipped to understand me, but you perhaps have become distracted and lost the original instructions. Come, study, and learn once again how to live in relationship with me, a living, healthy river in relationship with a healthy, caring community. And now the people will speak to the river. Water heals my body. Water heals my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water, I feel whole. Anouk. The sunlight reflects on the Gatineau River, sparkling and pure as little ripples, hardly noticeable, create a sense of movement. It suddenly strikes me. I am looking at 1,000 diamonds floating on the surface. Mordecai. Something I love about the river is the cool, fresh air. Madeline. Walking across the rocks, right beside the cool, fresh water, I see autumn leaves falling from the trees. Janet, I love to swim into the force of the river's current and then ride back, carried like a leaf. Nick, there are two ways to experience weightlessness. You can spend billions and go out into space, or you can float on your back in the Gatineau River for free. Phil, swimming slowly down the silvery water path of the harvest moon. Water heals my body, water heals my soul. When I go down to the river, by the river I feel whole. Noelle, granddaughter and grandma, alone in the Gatineau, delighting in the river and the leaves floating by. I, cherishing the time spent with my Rosie and the privilege of being in this cool, fresh water. Jyoti, jumping into the river is like getting a cool hug from Mother Nature, a nice embrace to keep your day calm and flowing. Melanie, giggles, laughter, splashes. River, you are a relative we visit daily, all summer long. You are part of our family. Peter, we stretch out, my 2-year-old grandson and I, on a friend's generously shared dock and wait for the river to reveal, fish coming! Water heals my body, water heals my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Tina, I've always been drawn to flowing bodies of water, having grown up alongside a river, watching the swirls, eddies, and hitchhikers passing by on the current. As a teenager, I used to sit for hours, mesmerized by the flow, and ponder life. Whether paddling, admiring the rising mist, or simply gazing at it, the Gatineau River reminds me of its power, history, and beauty every time I'm near it. Melanie, beloved Gatineau, thank you for teaching me what the experience of a deep connection to a waterway's flow can be. Stephanie, although I can't see you from here, so often I feel comforted when I think of you running so very close to my home, just over there. Lindy, you, my beloved river, radiant being, ever-changing and constant. Anne, the river brings a glow to my heart and spirit, and I bring that back to my studio to paint with an open heart. Water heals my body. Water heals my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Fanny, river, flow those memories of sun and storm. Time will do the rest. Sarah, I adore the feel of the cool water and current on my body. I need her. When I am feeling low, a dip in her cool waters reawakens my joy, my hope, my energy. Lori, our river somehow holds us together, keeping us not only cool and calmer, but sane, ensuring that we smile at one another. Genevieve, I feel taken by the river, the raging river, washing my pain away. Watching it pass, I am held. Anita, what I love about the river is that it always welcomes me in all my states of mind and being, all my misery and all my joy. It embraces me, it soothes me, it fuels me. Going for a swim can feel like having a nap. You never regret jumping in. Bettina, the cool water nipping at my fingertips, the changing force of the eddies pushing my outrigger, the flickers of color on the waves reflecting the brilliance of the surrounding hills. As I paddle up the Gatineau and back down again, this is my daily prayer of gratitude for life, our river, our beautiful planet. And now, an end to our journey with the river, to speaking back and forth. Shall I play that over again? Okay. I'm almost as cool as you guys when handling tech here. When I'm crying, oh, the river takes me in her arms and holds me gently until I'm calm and I can see the stars. I can see the stars.
Spirit that really inspired much of what we did. And then Patrick Thompson came on board. He's the president at Place des Artistes de Ferelton, and he comes with tons of experience with community art projects and facilitation and social justice as well. And so he's going to share some of his work with you all and how he collaborated with us. Thanks, Patrick.
Did, I will flow like a river of technical difficulties. And Thank you very much, Ilse. That was fantastic. I grew up next to the river, and I've lived away from this area for 20 years. And coming back to this awesome action that's happening is very moving. And thank you, Dorian and Patsya, for coming to visit me at the farm yesterday. That was nice, to make my home cozy. I've spent the last 10 years in the high Arctic, working in one community. And when Geneviève asked if I wanted to speak a little bit about my practice and my work, I thought it would be interesting to talk about this one particular project that my collaborator Alexa Hatanaka and I worked on in 2017, 18, and 19. It was the time of Canada 150, and the Art Gallery of Ontario asked us to make a piece. And as a lot of art tends to do, it tends to discuss things and perhaps not come to solutions or address problems which it speaks about. So we started out. Are we cool technically? We're good? Okay. We started out with one question in mind, and the question was to ask the kids that we had worked with for the last 10 years. Some of them we started working with when they were 9 years old. These are all Inuit children from Cape Dorset who come from the most fantastic community, incredibly rich artistic community. If you ever have a chance to visit the National Gallery's vaults, you will see that a town of 1,200 people has produced the most staggering amount of art imaginable. And it's all either on show upstairs or it's in this enormous vault that's the size of a football field underground. And this is art that comes through dining room tables. It sits on dining room tables and it disappears out of the community. So a lot of the kids that we've worked with over the years, when we bring them down south, they get to see art that they've only seen for a very short period of time in the vault, and it sort of changes their perception of their community. Anyhow, that's a little bit of a background. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to scroll through the work. I'm actually going to start at the beginning of the project that we worked on. So as I said, the project began 2017. This was Canada 150. I'm sorry if this is giving anyone... Okay, let's start here. Okay, so we were actually down south at the time, and as I said, we spent 10 years working the Arctic. We spent 6 months in Cape Dorset and 6 months down south. And this year, we'd asked the kids, what would you like to see change in your community? And a lot of the discussions tonight are about the river. And life in the Arctic, the rivers for most of the year are frozen, and access to the land is determined by, traditionally would have been dog sled teams, but in this day and age is snowmobiles. So asking the kids, what would you like to see change in your community? A lot of the kids said they would like to be able to get out on the land more. Sorry, my fingers aren't working. Appreciate this. There we go. Okay. So we worked over a very bad internet connection, as there is in the north, with our friend Pamela Jarrett, who's the teacher, and Pam made this Play-Doh and handed out Play-Doh to the kids. This is Takialu, Nuna. Takialu made this snowmobile. There's Saki and David, and they made snowmobiles representing getting out on the land. These snowmobiles, I'm just going to walk you through the project. These snowmobiles were then sent down south. We 3D scanned them at University of Toronto, super high resolution, and we ended up 3D printing them at 36 inches. So we grew the snowmobiles to 36 inches, all the while communicating with the young people who are the collaborators on this project about how this was working over a distance, working online, describing 3D printing, describing how this process works with photogrammetry, which is taking thousands of photos of an object and being able to blow it up. So this is the snowmobile when it was blown up, and there is the original beside it. Why were we doing this, you may ask yourself? What is this guy talking about? So a lot of this problem of not being able to get on the land is an issue of resources. How do communities get a large percentage of children to be able to access knowledge and access hunting lands? And with fewer and fewer elders, this problem becomes increasingly more difficult. And so the question was, how does the high school step in and fill in the role of of educator in a more traditional sense. So back to the process. So these snowmobiles were then cast at OCAD University into wax. This is George Farmer, foundry master extraordinaire that I worked with. And all these snowmobiles were turned into waxes. And we made an edition of 4 of each of these snowmobiles that the youth had done. Sadly, 2 years before, the high school in Cape Dorset was burned by arsonists. And all the material in the school had been left to sit in the middle of the community. And I had always collected things, and I started to collect the material from the high school. So I had a storage container, a shipping container in the middle of the community full of aluminum and bits, lots of bits. And I thought, okay, there needs to be a Phoenix from the Flames moment in this project. What are we going to do with this material? So we collected, once they brought all the materials from the high school to the dump, I stole it all out of the dump, and I brought it down to Toronto in giant Rubbermaid bins and to OCAD U, and we melted it down, and we cast all the aluminum into these snowmobiles. And these snowmobiles were then, batteries are running low, homie. Oh, more technical difficulties. Ilza, what do we do? And I'm trying to do everything backwards here. This is like the easiest technical difficulty, I think. There you go. Thanks. So just to keep on it. So the question was always like, what is the role of the art world in doing things other than decorating our walls and making pretty things that make us feel cozy? Well, the youth of Cape Dorset were raised with the idea that art was to make money. It was a very Southern concept that was introduced, and this process has kind of done a lot of good in the community, but has also turned art very much into a commodity. So as a effort against that, we thought it would be kind of cool if these projects, this collaborative project, actually benefited everyone together. So everyone's community effort could actually benefit the whole. So these are the snowmobiles that were made, and I'm just going to zoom out, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the final process. Okay, here's some kooky things. So here's the school when it was burnt. Very crazy thing to have happen. You can imagine a community where there are 1,600 people, and the school is not only community center, but it's the gym, it is the fitness place, it is the place where food gets cooked for community events, it's a place to go and do like square dancing. It is a very important place, and when it's gone, it leaves a massive wound in the community. So this material was very charged emotionally, as you can imagine. Sorry for my 2 left thumbs here. Okay. There was also lots of copper that was salvaged. I 3D scanned the kids, and I printed them, and then I made copper sculptures of the kids. This is Mo Kelly on the right, and that's David on the left. Okay, this is fun here. Let's get out of here. There we go. So in the end, the snowmobiles were part of a project that was at the Art Gallery of Ontario, as I said. They were displayed. There we go. This is a better angle. So you can see the snowmobiles at the front. There is a Lauren Harris painting actually on the back. It's a real Lauren Harris painting. And that's actually the hat of a young guy that we worked with for years who committed suicide. And it's sitting on top of the Lauren Harris painting. And there's a direct connection to a lot of the problems that you hear and you see in terms of connection to tradition and land. And for us to be able to drive to Montreal for the weekend gives us a bit of wind in our sails when we return home to our desk jobs. But in the north, getting out on the land for the afternoon on the back of a snowmobile, on the back of a sled, makes an enormous difference in the life of a young person. So the cool thing about this project, and just to wrap up here, is these 4 snowmobiles and 4 copies of them were sold to different museums around the world and collectors, and bought 7 real snowmobiles and paid 4 elders for the next 4 years to run land trip programs in the community. So we had no idea if this was going to work or people would even want these things, but you can imagine hanging something on your wall that has a story like this allows somebody with the funds to tell a story to their lovely rich friends about something that they did with their money. And in the end, the solution actually is a win-win all the way around, because it shows a level of involvement that the art world can create solutions rather than just trophy cabinets. So right now, the project is 2 years in, and 3 times a month, the kids go out on the land to learn traditional stories, keep language alive, and actually learn how to fix snowmobiles, which is a really awesome skill. So that's one little project we did. If you guys have time, I won't go on and on, but you're welcome to check out pasystem.org. And we'll just go here. Embassy of Imagination is the reason why this project came to be was actually through a more very simple project. Some of you have seen this in the Byward Market. So this is a drawing made by a 13-year-old girl, Christine Adamy. She had read this story about a bowhead whale that was harvested in 2015. Now, Inuit communities are entitled to harvest a bowhead whale every 4 years in order to keep populations healthy. And she had heard that they had found a harpoon in the side of this bowhead whale that was harvested at 110 years old. I think that was 85-year-old harpoon in the side of this whale. Anyhow, so she drew this picture, and the crew of us came down, 4 other young people who were in grade 9 at the time, and 2 in grade 7, I think, and painted this on the side of the Bell Canada building. You can actually see the Chateau Laurier turret sticking up behind there. Anyhow, we've done a number of these projects, and it becomes a very interesting placemaking activity art. Now, when many Inuit come to the city, family photos are taken there, and it becomes a place of pride and joy in a part of Canada that's actually very important for Inuit, because it is the bottleneck of all airlines coming from the north is Ottawa. And there you go, art, fun stuff. Let's make more of it.
I'm just going to speak from here just for a second, because I'm going to play the film from the laptop. But so obviously a master at imagining action. So we're really lucky to have him at PAF and to have him work with the Imagine Action Youth Council. Before we screen the film, I wanted to mention that we didn't really put a hard set end time to the event. We decided, the Youth Council and I had a chat, and we decided to run through the schedule rather organically. That means that I wouldn't police the time and stuff like that. With that said, probably 9 p.m. We do have drinks if you're very thirsty, and we don't want anyone to be uncomfortable. We do have some pizza actually that we bought for the Youth Council. So if anybody is like, oh, I don't know, I'd love to stay, but I'm really hungry, we do have some food and we do have some drinks. So we'll have a moment while the music is happening in a bit where you can come up if you want. Anouk, did you want to come up with me and we'll introduce the film? So we had filmed our time together since the beginning, and I suffered a concussion a couple months ago, and Anouk was very generous in offering to edit the film for me, and I just wanted you to have a chance to say something if you wanted to. I'll cue it up.
Okay, so Our gallery then sold some of our t-shirts at the Wakefield Market, and so throughout all of these events, we documented it and decided that it would be really great to combine it and make it into a little mini kind of documentary thing. So the documentary would also help to widen our audience, and we can share it with more people to make our voices heard. So it's about 10 minutes long.
to a group of youth who care about the environment. When I went to my first meeting and heard the thoughtful concerns of young people being expressed so eloquently, concerns about animals, concerns about water, concerns about habitats, concerns about acting now, I was inspired to continue my own work as a climate activist. Imagine Action Youth Council.
The poster design was a really fun thing to work on. It's kind of hard to read, but you get questions about it, like, oh, what does your shirt say? And then you can talk about what you're doing in the Imagine Action, which is quite interesting. And we took a couple of sessions to plan that out and tested out how the actual printing would work when we went to the Saw Gallery.
I'm a parent of one of the youth council members. I helped to run the tie-dye workshop, and again, that event was really special to be a part of. The kids were so excited and worked so intensely and quickly to make the shirts, and they turned out so beautifully.
I quite enjoyed all of the events. I thought they were creative ways to work towards funding and raising awareness for the climate crisis. I think they were unique experiences. I participated in this project because it's a way to avoid inaction. It's a way to actually do something and raise awareness. And it's an actual movement towards a solution.
Cutting our CO2 emissions and replanting forests are necessary for the rebuilding of our damaged planet. For now, the outlook of our future does not look merry, but we can change that. We can fix it.
Our future can be bright. We just need some strong politicians and, most of all, to put our priorities into place.
At the end was beautiful as well. The march and the tree with all the messages and wishes and hopes for the environment was really powerful, beautiful.
We were lucky to have some musicians with us playing some nice tunes.
I participated in the Art Action March and the beautiful installation of the peace tree with the excellent, creative, inspiring statements. Seeing youth develop their voices, hearing them in the streets of my town produced a great surge of hope and empowerment within me. What people need to do, first of all, is listen to the Imagine Action Youth Council. Imagine action. Imagine the future we want. Imagine what it will take to protect our environment. We need them advising our political leaders.
To give you all an opportunity to ask questions to the youth members or anybody who presented thus far. Yeah, does anybody have any questions? We talked about, or another thing we could do is we're going to flip the script and have one of the youth members ask you all a question. Because Leia's prepared, because she's awesome.
I dramatically put down my root beer for this. So as you saw in the video, we've been doing a lot of projects up until now. This is far from our first endeavor. And it's also not the first time we've spoken about what we would do in terms of the climate emergency. We've participated in Q&As before. We've given our opinions on these kinds of things. And throughout all of those events, I often had one main thing that I would talk about, and it was the little steps, the small things that I could do to work gradually towards a solution. Because I know that big, huge changes are hard. All these things that we say we need to do, well, easier said than done. That's a cliche, I know, but it rings true. And throughout all of this, I've listed off many little things that I could do, but that's not what I'm going to do tonight. Tonight I'm going to say, instead of me telling you little things that could happen, tell me, what are your little things? What are the small steps you can take to work towards a solution?
First of all, I just want to say thank you for saying what I've been thinking. Like, what can each of us sacrifice so that we're not thinking all the time, yeah, but this is just for just so I can, and then we exclude ourselves. I can do so much more. I am stopping as much as possible burning wood in our house that is beautifully heated by electricity. That's one thing I can do.
That's great. Does anyone else have anything to add? That's fantastic. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Who? Yes.
Local farm that is, it's like instead of buying food from the grocery store, we get fresh food that is organically harvested by people, and it's like you pay a certain amount at the beginning of the year, and then they supply you every week. And so we also get eggs from that, and I think that's a really sustainable way to get food.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
I'm trying to make yogurt more so that I'm buying less yogurt in plastic.
Nice. Yeah, see, these are all great things. It shows we live in a great community. The fact that we get 3 answers out of this small group that quickly, that's fantastic. That's, like, we've got good people here. That much I know. Anyone else, or should I sit down? Yeah.
I'm going to harken back to Seth Klein again, who was live at our festival from Vancouver, because he, who is an activist for climate change, or to solve climate change, said, I'm not traveling unless it's absolutely essential, like it's a life emergency. So he said, I'm sorry I can't come to your festival, but I can be there live streaming. And I think that made me reflect a lot about personal travel for enjoyment, as well as for professional travel. Those are, like what Peter said, those are really hard decisions if you say, okay, I'm not going to travel this year because, you know, I want to make my contribution. But that's something that we can do that actually has a big impact.
Yes. Yeah?
We're going to apply for a granted path for electric charging stations at the front of the building, so we can have hopefully free if we can convince Hydro-Quebec to, you know, put the cost, but to make our space a destination to be able to charge and tour from there. Yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else, or should I sit back down? No?
Also, I'm at stores, like, it's really hard right now, but trying to buy less plastic, like everything has plastic. I've seen things with like a box of plastic, and then you open it, and each separate cracker has a plastic. Like,
It's so redundant, right? Yeah, that's a thing we complain about all the time in our household. Yeah?
I grew up in a household where we had to ration water and a whole bunch of other things as well. So one trick that we learned was to either put a rock, or like big rock, or a yogurt container full of water inside the tank of your toilet. So when you flush the toilet, you're actually refilling it with less water, and you use a lot less water every single flush.
That's clever.
And one of the things, it seems to me, that any one of these ideas could be amplified into a community campaign. So that we could say, all right, let's all do this.
Yeah.
Let's all put rocks in our toilets.
Which sounds very odd out of context, but...
and then that individual small step starts to create...
a ripple effect.
Yeah. So I think coming out of this evening with the idea that these ideas that we've shared tonight could be shared out on a community basis.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people compost here, but composting is such an easy thing to do, especially us kind of not really living in the country, but we have some land, some of us. And I worked at Daegu this summer, and it was crazy how much food they wasted, and it all went into garbage. No recycling, no compost.
Oh my god, it triggers me so much when I see a banana peel in a garbage can. Like, there's such thing as compost. Come on. Yeah, that's great.
I'm trying to listen to lots of podcasts about ways to help. There's a few great ones. 39 Ways to Save the Planet is one. It's a BBC show.
Only 39?
What's that? Only 39. Well, no, yeah, I'm sure there are more. But it's helpful. Lots of good ideas and podcasts and things. Very cool. People are doing all over the world, and it's hopeful when you hear that other communities are also working at it across the community level.
Combining that with what Helen has said, it would be interesting to maybe invite another community to have like a challenge.
Hey, who can save the planet faster? Let's go. Let's be competitive here, folks. Yeah. Hey, if you litter, you lose.
Yeah, I think something that we can do for everyone is to try to eat less meat, because I think most people know the connection with what's happening with the planet and the whole agricultural industry, factory farming, and how we can grow so much more food on land that is taken up with cattle and a whole bunch of things. But anyway, I say it's the number one thing.
And for us meat lovers who don't want to give it up, we can always just change that to find sustainable meat, find local meat, because I love my pork chops. I really do.
I was just going to add that during the pandemic, I think when the whole world stopped, it was a good opportunity for all of us to take pause and to look at our lifestyle. And a lot more people worked from home, and there was way less traffic on the roads. Now we've chosen to live in a rural setting.
That I know.
It's a wonderful life, and we grow as much of our food as possible, but obviously it's not sustainable. So even prior to the pandemic, but certainly a lot more since the pandemic, we just really limit our town days. So when there's a task to do, it's the bank and it's the this and it's this. So it might be a long day, but it's one outing versus going out every day. It just seems to make sense. In terms of the miles, since we still are using a gas guzzler in our reality, so that's certainly one thing that we've taken note of that we can change. Stay home.
Vacation at home.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that depends. Not everyone has a creek in their backyard like we do, guys. Yeah, come on over, guys. We'll have a big party with masks. Of course, we have like all sorts of outdoor space, really.
Also, I think the pandemic has shown that if there's like a problem that everyone recognizes, you can really come together and battle it as one unison, and then like it really can be the government can do things faster if it knows that it can only be elected again if the whole population wants this one issue.
Be a unit. Strength in numbers.
Maybe ask to change regulations, like for plastic bags in the stores. If they're just, not allowed anymore, like against the
like
law.
how everyone's...
It's like smoking, it was... Now it's not permitted anymore.
Like how everyone's like using paper straws now instead of plastic.
That's right.
Like get rid of the plastic bags. Yeah. Masks have become the new plastic bag, by the way. Like on the streets, you see it used to be you'd see a plastic bag every few steps. That seems to be less prominent now. But there's a mask every half step. It's annoying. These are disposable, not throw on the groundable, please.
You can see garbage
something.
Yeah, yeah. Garbage cans, if they are within your line of sight, go to them, put your trash in them, not on the ground beside them.
Jump off a bridge if you have to. Just go to
Yeah, swim across the Gatineau River just to put your garbage in a trash can, please. Doesn't matter if it's dead winter, just take the extra step, come on.
Oh, you can organize a cleaning team to go by the river in the spring, stuff like that. Imagine action.
Yeah.
You can invite people to join you or something.
Yeah, I just keep thinking about the transportation thing, and it doesn't seem realistic in the short term that we'll have a stronger public transit system. And I just wonder if there could be a possibility of collectively buying electric vehicles.
Like
right now,
a community
not
fund?
accepted.
Like a community fund?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe we can be the first region where everybody has an electric car, and if we could buy them collectively, it could lower the price, and maybe we could get some government subsidies.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. That could definitely, if enough people got on board, for sure.
Maybe everybody has to have an electric car.
Just become a mandate.
Yeah.
Electric or bust.
Give it up for Leia, give it up for the youth.
So the original concept was to have this adult in the hot seat kind of question period, and Anita actually reached out to Guillaume Lemoureux, and he really wanted to come and tried his best, and at the last minute he had a family function or something but he did want to be here, and he was willing to hear the youth's questions and your questions. And so a big part of it is also holding government leaders accountable, and so we need to take all of these really good ideas and then implement them at a larger scale. So with that said, I realized that it's just my educator brain always says that, we have these discussions, but oral communication isn't always how everybody participates. So we have a visual map going on, and I see some beautiful contributions already. It's our problem-solving climate emergency solutions map. So we are going to have some music now, and I welcome all of you to grab some art material, some paper if you want to contribute to that. And next up, we have Anouk and Noah Marks, who are going to be playing the viola and the piano. Sorry, folks. All eyes on us, please. Anouk and Noah are just going to say some words about their performance before they play. Thank you.
So first, we're gonna play this piece written by Handel, It's a sonata in D major, and me and my sister are gonna play it. I'm on the violin, my sister's on the piano, and Handel actually wrote this piece in 1750. It was his last piece, and he died in the same year. And there are two movements.
So now I'm going to play a solo piece for piano. It's a lot of people describe this music as a kind of like during the events after dark, nighttime. It's actually called a Nocturne, and it's by Chopin. He composed it during from 1942 to 1944, and it's actually part of a set of 2 nocturnes. But I'm just going to play one. So it's the Nocturne in G minor.
Wow. It's amazing. So last but not least, we're going to have a closing performance by Dorian and Patsya. Is that the mic that we're going to? Okay.
Hi, I'd just like to say that I really want to thank you for the invitation. Tonight was magical as when I first, I guess, came to Farrellton and I met Patrick. I went home to Ottawa and my friends are saying, well, what was it like, And I said, it was just a magical day, the whole day. I was there all day, like for 14 hours. And it was... I said, and they, what's he like? I said, Patrick, there's like this magic about him. Well, what does he do? I go, he does all kinds of things. And it doesn't even matter what he's doing. You want to be a part of it. And I feel the same about this community now, like Genevieve, thank you. And I'm going to read you part 2 of my poem, The Maple Tree, part 2. It's called Goodbye, My Friend, and I would like to dedicate it to my friend Ron. Professionals methodically took her down, one piece at a time, the large limbs thundering as they hit the ground. Boom, rumblings ran deep. Boom, Mother Earth trembled. Boom, alone in my melancholy, I shuddered. It didn't take long for her to lose all semblance of herself, like when you see a friend ravaged by cancer. You barely recognize her now. From the top of the 200-year-old maple tree, the skilled executioner stopped to take in the view that he would be the last to see. He paused and pondered. For a moment, I wondered if he could see the past and the future that will never be.
Jimmy Grudge for that. Jimmy Grudge. So, just on the second note of that, there's some roses up there, and I've just gave Genevieve's mother a rose. Thank you. And I was welcoming the women to share those roses I brought tonight because someone gave me them and I just thought we'd be in a moment. So help yourself to those roses there. I'll take one home with me, but I'll share it with the women there. So representing the love. So the Changing Woman is about the earth, a key. It's called the earth, and we live in a circumpolar world. And we live with the 4 seasons of the winter, the spring, the summer, the fall. And in those seasons, we come grow like plants coming in from the east, the grandfather we call Mishomas. And then we go into the west of our lives. And red represents the blood life of Mother Earth, water, which is the element, the sacred element. And women are from the first fire. So, and it's about the earth. So, Changing Woman, frosted echoes lying over fir trees, frozen memories of my dormant past, the other sentiments, a cup of grace, final toast of a marvel friendship. Indeed, we danced over Mother Earth with the rain frogs. Twins of love, born from rainbow woman, follow the footsteps of the graceful dancer. Sunrise direction, restore the beauty. Child of the water, guard your stars in the evening light. Restore the beauty. ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo way ah hey yo, away ah hey yo, yo away. Ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo way ah hey yo, away ah hey yo, yo away. Ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo way ah hey yo, away ah hey yo, yo away. Ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo way ah hey yo, away ah hey yo, yo away. Ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo way ah hey yo, away ah hey yo, yo away. Ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo way ah hey yo, away ah hey yo, yo away. Ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo way ah hey yo, away ah hey yo, yo away. Ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo away hey yo, ayo hey ah hey yo, ayo way ah hey yo, away ah hey yo, yo away. Kichimigwaj. Yeah, thank you. So, I thank you very much. I'm very humbled and honored to be here again and in this beautiful town, and also listening to all your wonderful stories and the activism there. What a beautiful message about the river and the water, the blood life of Mother Earth, always flowing with her ever energy to give life and light and love as well to flowing. So I'm going to end my song with a traveling song, and usually a traveling song we greet our ancestors and we stand up for them. But like I said, join me in your mind's eye. Just think about the river and the energy and the people which are all here tonight, including Patsya. Thank you very much, Patsya, for joining me with your maple tree. It's absolutely beautiful, and thank you for inviting me as well too. So. Chimigwach. We ha away away yo way away yo we ha away away yo way yo way ha away we ha way away yo, way way ha, away away yo, way yo, way ya, away way ha, away away yo, way away yo, way way ha, away away yo, way yo, way ya, way way ha, away away yo, way away yo, way way ha, away away, 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 Hey, Chimiguez, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We hope that to work with you again, Patsya and Dorian, the Youth Council, and PAF in general. So that ends the evening. We thank you all for being here. Again, I want to thank MRC de Colline for their support, SAW, Writers Fest, all of you. We have t-shirts in the back, some t-shirts left over, as well as some posters. Some of our posters are still at PAF, but we are taking donations for these things, and that will help support further programming for the Youth Council. So we're taking a break, but we're going to meet up in March again, and we're taking new members. I think we already have a new member over here. Thank you all. Thanks to youth. You're the best. Thanks, Ajay.